First, I want to say thank you to everyone for being here with us tonight. I'm going to step away from the microphone just a little bit. So hopefully you all can hear me pretty well. I'm mic'd up right now, but this microphone seems to not catch too much audio. So I wanted to explain to you all why the Libre Initiative is here and who the Libre Initiative is. I know some of you know us very well, but some of you do not know who we are. The Libre Initiative is a national nonprofit, nonpartisan organization. And what we do is that we focus on economic freedom issues in the Hispanic community, not only here in Central Florida, but also throughout the United States. I am the North Florida Field Director for the Libre Initiative. So I basically am responsible for all of Central Florida with my team, with Annie Ocasio, who's in the back, and you guys have seen them with the Libre Initiative shirts on, and the Libre Institute as well, which I'm going to explain in just a second, and Juan Martinez. Juan Martinez is our coordinator here in Kissimmee, and Annie is in Orlando. So tonight, we're actually doing an inaugural event for our institute. It's our 501c3. And our 501c3 is going to focus on helping students, Hispanic students, get scholarships to get through high school, start businesses and different community service events. So tonight is our first institute event here in the state of Florida. So thank you so much for being here with us. I really appreciate you being here. Some things to know about the Libre Initiative. We are a national nonprofit organization, so we don't support any candidates or any party in any way. So we're nonpartisan, and the reason why tonight is important, this is the first event that we've done of its kind of talking about home ownership and achieving your dream, your American dream of home ownership. Why is that important? Why is home ownership important? Home ownership is important because when you purchase a property, you are invested in the community that you live in, automatically. So when you're renting, you can kind of go wherever you want. When you purchase, it says that I'm setting down roots here, I'm starting a family here, and it's very important in the Hispanic community that we do that. The reason why is because if you own a home, you are most likely to start a small business, and we're all about small businesses, and small businesses growing. Did you know that in the Hispanic community, it's a ratio of 2 to 1. Hispanics start more small businesses than any other group in the United States. It's trending towards 3 to 1. It used to be 3 to 1. So we depend very heavily on small businesses. And I know that some of you, especially your realtors and different people, you are like a small business, right? And you function that way. So we want to support you, and we want to support everything that you do. And we do that here in Central Florida by hosting different community service events like we're doing right now, different educational events like we're going to do tonight. And I wanted to introduce some of the organizations that are here with us tonight and talk about the format that we're going to use tonight. So tonight we have with us Olga Castano, who is with One Way Realty, and she's going to be discussing realtors and what to expect from a realtor and what to expect from a real estate agent and a company if you go with one, right? And then we have with us Commissioner Art Otero, who is going to be with us, who's going to be speaking about mortgages, and he represents Harbor Community Bank here out of Kissimmee, correct, Commissioner? And he is going to be speaking about mortgages and the importance of understanding the mortgage process, how to get a loan, what it means to sit down and what you should expect when you sit down in front of a mortgage loan officer, right? And then we have also, Olga is going to be also presenting about credit and how important it is to have a good credit score. But if you don't, there are also services that can clean up your credit history, right? And a lot of people don't know that and don't understand that they can do that. Sometimes our credit history does not show things that are actually ours, and there are companies that can take that away and make sure that that is not reflected on your credit score, right? So having a clean and good credit score is very important. We also have with us Gustavo Epland from BGP Inspections, and he is going to be speaking about inspections and how important it is and what to expect when you're buying a home and what to expect from a home inspector and home inspections as a whole. So then we're going to have with us Lou Oliver, who's going to talk about closing, and they are representing their title company, and they are Quinones and Oliver PL, and they're here local, and they are going to be talking about what to expect at closing. When I first closed on our first house, it was so scary because we didn't know what to expect. Luckily, we had a great realtor, and he brought us through the process. But when you sign that paperwork that says that over 30 years you're paying over $1 million for a house, or close to $1 million, it's really scary. So it's great to have a good title company to tell you what to expect and it's also important to have a clean title when you buy a home. So they're going to talk about a little bit about that, what to expect at closing. We really appreciate you being here tonight, and we really want you to take advantage of these services. We're going to give out some gift cards. We have these separate booths out here. We want to break out after everyone's done speaking. We want to break out and let you go and do sort of a workshop. We encourage you to go to different booths, not to just stay at one, but to speak to everyone so that you can understand the whole process of buying a home. So thank you so much for being with us tonight. Thank you on behalf of the Libre Initiative. We also have some other organizations that I want to say that did sponsor the event as well that weren't able to be with us. But Nuevo Sendero, it's an organization that helps women, battered women, and talks about sexual abuse things, and they're a very important organization in our community. Please pay attention to them, and thank you to them for being here with us and supporting us tonight. Also, Abraham Financial as well, and also our other vendors who are outside. So we have Poof, and she's out there painting faces with kids and things. So thank you for everyone for being a part of this event. We really appreciate it. It's our first event that we do this way. Please stick with us. We'll be done very shortly, but please, the best part that we want to bring to you is that you break out and go into these groups and speak to these individual vendors, so that way you can have an understanding, a full understanding of buying a home. And with no further ado, I'd like to introduce Olga Castano, who's also a Libre Initiative volunteer, and she has been helping us for a long time, so I really appreciate her. So thank you, Olga.
Thank you, David.
Come on up.
Thank you for coming tonight and being with us. It's an honor to be part of Libre. I am a volunteer going on 2 years, and I believe in what they do, and that's my goal too. That the same, that we need to help the Hispanic community. And I'm here to talk as a realtor. As a realtor, I believe that we are the guidance for a dream that you have, that I have. And when you go to an office looking for somebody to help you buy that dream home, the realtor is going to be there to guide you and let you know each step that you need to be able to purchase that home. And we are a real estate professional that should know how, what's the best way to guide you. And my group, the Revolution Group, we're here to support you and to let you know what you need to be able to accomplish that. We definitely will, when you go to the table, I don't really want to talk much because, I want to give everybody enough time to talk. So go to the table and talk to one of the people at the group that we have, and they will be able to explain everything well to you, okay? Have a wonderful night. Thank you for having me tonight. I'm sorry, I forgot to introduce Arturo Otero, Commissioner Arturo Otero.
Okay, good evening, and thank you for the invitation, and thank you for Libre, for everything that they're doing here in our community. It's really important. I think that homeownership is really important for our community. I think that that is the American dream, and I think that the dream is still alive. It's just that we had situations in the past, but so far everything is going good. We're lending money. Again, my name is Art Otero. So I'm commissioner for the city of Kissimmee, but I also represent Harbor Community Bank. That's what I work for. I have to make a living. Politics is nothing gonna pay my bills. So anyway, I'm happy to be here and share a little bit about, homeownership, how to start to get a loan. There are three things that are really important when somebody applies for a loan. It's basically your credit, your income, and your assets. If you have a good credit, well, a credit with 620 or better would allow you to start the process. Now, but then we have to take in consideration your income. If you have a $500 car payment and you're making $200 a month and you want to buy a house, for sure it's not going to happen. So you have to be, you have to be able to qualify as well with your income, because we take in consideration all your debt. We don't take consideration on your utility bill, just, if you have car loans or credit card or personal loans, plus the mortgage payment, including principal and interest, taxes and insurance, and homeowners insurance. If you have that as well, we take that in consideration to your debt ratio. And then assets, for sure, everybody had to have some money to invest into a transaction of the loan. There are programs available in the county or in the city that assist people with the first-time home buyer with money to be able to buy a house. But that program is available, but when the money's out, it's run out, there's no money. But we have a program that's still available with our company. It's for first-time home buyer. You can put 3% down. The money can be a gift, but you still have to invest something on the transaction. And then the PMI, or private mortgage insurance, that's what you're gonna have compared to an FHA loan that you pay in MIP or mortgage premium upfront. It will be financed into the loan. Plus, you will pay monthly private mortgage insurance. So it will be more costly. Instead, 3% down, conventional loan, first-time home buyer. And when I say first-time home buyer, somebody that doesn't own a house for the last 3 years. That's what it is. If you don't own a house for the last 3 years, you are considered a first-time home buyer. So that's the principles about it. If you are interested in qualify for a loan, I'm gonna have an application. I can help you out with that after we have all these people speaking and so forth. And I can get all your information. I can give you my business card. And then from there, we can set up an appointment to discuss, to see where you are. Maybe you can qualify for a mortgage. Let's say you can qualify at this moment. Don't lose your hope, because one day you will. And I have people that have been working in actuality, I'm helping people in their credit and so forth, which is not my part, but I'm gonna have Olga talking about that. But we help them so they be able to buy a house in 6 or a year, So that's kind of what we're gonna introduce now. Olga, she's a popular lady tonight. My goodness. She is with the Financial Education Services, right? That's what it is? Olga, again.
Thank you,
She needs to run for it.
I will one day. Good evening again. Yes, I got involved with the credit because, and I was waiting for this company around 3 years. The reason why is because I know a lot of people are having bad credit and they don't know what else to do, and they want to purchase a home. So, but me as a realtor, I was saying, okay, I sent it to somebody else and that person is not going to come back to me. So now that I have, this company, that I'm working with this company, I don't restore the credit. I am an agent and I register them so that they could help them. Why? Because if you have good credit, not only that you're able to buy a house, but you also could buy a car for less interest. You could, it's so many things. Even when you go look for a new job, they sometimes check your credit. So credit is 90% in our life. We need to have a great credit, and that's the reason why I got involved. Not only because of the money, because money comes when you're helping people, but because I wanted to be able to give people hope that they could go to the next level, step by step. That's why we have Arturo here, Commissioner Arturo here, helping us with the mortgage. And we work hand by hand, right? Because that's the only way to do it. So we guide you all the way. And any questions, I don't really standing here to try to tell you a lot, because we have all the people at the table that are willing and ready to help you, okay? So any question, just go ahead and ask. The next person that we have is Gustavo from BPG. Let's give him a welcome.
Hello. My name is Gustavo Pellman. I work for BPG. It's a national company for home inspections. Our job is to make that the American dream is not transformed in a bad dream. You find the right house, the right price, the right realtor, everything is good, but we need to help you to find if the house is in good condition. Sometimes you can find a house has some problems that you can see or you don't understand. Our job is to let you know if the house is in good condition, or how much it will cost to bring the house to the good condition. Usually the home inspection is not going to kill the deal. If you like that house, the price, the home inspection will help you to talk with the seller and show him what the problems are, and maybe you can discuss with him the price. I have experience where we found that the roof in a house was in bad condition, and the seller decided to fix the roof just because he wanted to sell the house. With no home inspection, that client should have put $5,000, $7,000 to fix the roof a few months after the closing. We also, in our company, have home warranties. I'm not going to explain about that, but our company offers you 90 days of home warranty. That means if we make a home inspection in your house, if we find everything is okay, and you have a problem in your house 90 days after the closing, our company gives a warranty, will fix, replace, or whatever is needed to bring that item. Let's say the oven was working at the time of the inspection, and 45 days, for whatever reason, it stopped working, we will replace, repair, or whatever is needed to bring to the good condition. I would say that it's like if I want to buy a car 62, I would check the engine. It's more or less the same thing. If you will buy a house, check the house. One more thing, if you're going to take an insurance in your house, depends on the age of the house, insurance company will ask for some conditions of the house. If you know before you buy the house that you will be able to put an insurance policy in that house, will be good for you. Because sometimes we go to the condition that the insurance doesn't want to insure this house because the electric panel is too old, or is in bad condition, or is a faulty one. That's because it's important to have a home inspection in your future house. Okay. Thank you. Our next speaker will be Lou Quiñones.
Hi, good evening. My name is Lou Oliver, and we were introduced a little earlier as a title company, and that is in fact my major business. It's the type of work that we do, real estate closings and title work, and helping you sign documents when it's time to do your closing. But we're actually a law firm, Quiñones and Oliver. So I'm an attorney. I do most of the closings myself. In the state of Florida, we compete with title companies. In many places, including Puerto Rico, for example, only attorneys do real estate transactions. There's no such thing as a title company. Same is true in New York and New Jersey and Illinois and about 8 or 9 American states. In the rest of the country, there are also title companies, and we compete with them. We provide the same service at the closing table. The difference is that when you use an attorney to do that work, you also get an advisor, somebody who can answer your legal questions, who is legally allowed to explain the documents. When you go to a closing, for example, with a title company, technically speaking, the people who are handing you the documents are really not allowed to explain them. They're just allowed to say, here, this is what you have to sign. This is sort of what the title of the document is. But if you have an attorney at the closing, and I do most of them myself, we can actually tell you what you're signing. We can explain it. We can answer questions about it. We can tell you why it's important, or in many cases, why it's not important. Part of my job here is to explain to you the actual closing process itself. It's usually the part that people find the most unpleasant because it involves a lot of signing of papers, and frankly, there's no way on an FHA loan the stack of paper is about that big. Even if I did not explain to you anything in the stack of paper, it would probably take you a solid hour just to sign the pages. That's without the explanations. So the reality is that most of the time, you're going to have no opportunity to read the documents. You have absolutely no idea what they say. And most of the time you go to a closing, you basically just sign. So we do a little bit of explanation for you, but the really good news about this is most of the paperwork you are signing, I say this as a little joke that I say at closing table. The bad news is you don't have any choice about signing most of these documents. The good news is you don't have any choice about signing all these documents. So there's no need to be worried or concerned. When it comes down to it, there's really only two that matter to you. Most of the forms that mortgage companies use are exactly the same. Citibank, Wells Fargo, Harbor Community Bank, great bank by the way, and very nice loan products. But most of these banks, pretty much all of them, the paperwork is the same because the banks typically plan to sell your loan to someone else. I don't know how many of you have had a mortgage before and you get a letter in the mail saying, my mortgage has been sold and now I have to send my mortgage payment to a different bank. Well, that happens all the time. And the only way that market exists to be able to sell a group of loan documents is if they're the same. So the papers all look basically the same for every mortgage company. What you really want to think about and what you want to ask, and you have great lenders here like Art Otero and Harbor Community Bank, is be sure you understand the interest rate. It's very important. It's important you understand if there's a prepayment penalty. It's important that you talk about what your loan payment is. Don't make the mistake, by the way, all the time of just doing a loan based on the payment, because there's different ways to play with payments. But a lot of times that's your bottom line. That's what you want to know. How much do I pay every month? The job of the closing agent, a good one, especially hopefully an attorney, is to explain to you how you get those numbers. So you have a payment to the bank. Oftentimes, if you put down less than 20%, you also have a mortgage insurance premium that goes to pay for mortgage insurance. Plus, most banks want you to escrow for taxes and insurance. So every time you make a mortgage payment, that part is included as well. And what you really want to look at this big, huge stack of documents is really just two. One is the settlement statement with all those fees on it. And let me tell you some good news about fees and expenses and interest rates. I've been a real estate attorney for exactly 30 years, 30 años. And when I started in this business, it was very common. It was absolutely normal to go to a closing and discover that the home buyer had never had a clue about the interest rate, or maybe they were told a different interest rate, you know. But they told us this would be 4%. How come it's 6%? I don't understand. They told us that our fees would only be $2,000, but they're $5,000. How did this happen? I'm delighted to tell you that those kinds of very difficult nightmares rarely happen anymore. They're extremely unusual because the federal government now requires lenders to give you some very elaborate, very detailed paperwork way ahead of the closing. Now, truthfully, many of you won't read it. Most people don't. But if you did read it, you would see that the information that you actually sign at the closing table is usually very close to what the lender told you when you walked in the door. I'm going to give you another little suggestion about how you should shop for loan products. And this is relevant to the closing table because it matters to one of the documents you're going to sign. And that is, how many of you have heard the phrase on the radio or on television, APR? APR this, APR that. This is the APR. You're going to buy a new car, 12.6% APR, APR this. You're always probably, what the heck is APR? APR is a fancy abbreviation for annual percentage rate, and the right way to think about it is sort of like that's the real interest rate. You might have a simple interest rate here, but the APR is maybe a little bit higher, and that's because the APR includes all the fees that go on top of the loan. And that way you can make a comparison, because if you go to one bank, for example, and the bank says, look, I'll give you a 4% loan and no fees. I mean, that's terrific. And another bank says, I'll give you a 3% loan, but I want $5,000 worth of fees. Which one is the better loan? And the answer is that unless you have a PhD in economics, you're never going to figure it out. So when you shop for loans, ask about the APR, ask about your payment, ask about what those fees are, and then when you go to the closing with someone like me or with a title company, be sure you carry that paperwork. Let me tell you something interesting. I do 30, 40 closings a month. I cannot remember the last time a client came to my closing with the good faith estimate, or frankly, any papers from their bank. Very rarely. So, and by the way, usually they're not surprised, usually they're not upset because they've heard all these things before. That's the good news. I haven't done a closing in about probably more than 5 years where there were serious problems with the loan or the products. Banks are very accurate today. You can trust them. When they tell you what the interest rate is, they're not going to try to change it on you. There's no way that's going to happen at a closing table. So that's good news for you if you're thinking about a closing. It's very unlikely they're going to significantly change any of their fees. Very, very unusual. So that's the good news. The federal government has made, I think, the loan process a little more predictable and a little better for you. But if you find yourself in a closing scenario, keep your paperwork, bring it to the closing with you, and especially if you have an attorney there, say, hey, can you tell me how this relates to this? Is this the same number here? And you'll have a much better process. Count on about an hour to an hour and a half to do the closing. And that sounds like a lot, and there's a lot of signatures, but for many of you, this will be a home you'll live in for 20 years or 30 or maybe the rest of your life. So just an hour and a half. Now, we are real estate attorneys, so if after this program you have any questions about home ownership or a deed or who's on title or somebody died or, you know, can I put this property in somebody else's name? Even if it doesn't relate to a closing, please come by and ask us if you have any sort of related question. I don't do other types of law. I don't do criminal law. I don't do personal injury and so forth. My law partner, though, John Quinones, who's here in Kissimmee, he's not with us tonight, but he also does probate. He also does family law and divorces and other things. So if you have questions about those, you could call him as well. But I'm here to answer your questions on real estate. I'd now like to bring it back to where we began with David Velasquez, who's going to finish us up tonight. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Very good. Well, as you can tell, we have a lot of expertise in the areas that we are concerned with as far as realtors, with the law firm of Quinones and Oliver PL as well, and also with BGP and with Commissioner Arrotero and Harbor Community Bank, excuse me. So we have all of this information, and what we want to do is we want to split out into groups just for a little while so you guys can speak to everyone individually, and you can speak about mortgages, about real estate, about titles, about real estate law, and also about inspections. So we want you to take advantage of that. And we also have a small raffle at the very end. We have gift certificates that have been donated by our sponsors. So thank you for that. And we are going to raffle those off by everybody who signed in. You had a number that was associated with that. So that'll be done at the very end, and I'll call everybody together. But we really want you to take advantage. We want you to take advantage of the expertise that is here. Thank you so much for being a part of this event and this portion of the event. Please break out and take advantage of the knowledge that's here, okay? Thank you, everyone. Go ahead and break out, and we'll call back in just a few minutes.